Well, I've got three different scenarios I'm going to talk about today. The first one are two very, very large, very old, probably 150, maybe 160-year-old trees. They're valley oaks. Now look at the base of this tree. What should I say about this tree? Is this tree dangerous or is it safe enough? It's a tough call. It's a real tough call. You know, I don't want to come across and scare them. Here's the one in the backyard. This one's clearly going to be doing some damage to the foundation, but it's a significant old giant heritage tree. And the heritage trees in our area are protected. To get one of these down, you've really got to document it well. Here's the one back in the front yard. It's in a bit of a driveway surround. So I talked with the client about it, and I didn't come down and condemn the tree, but I did tell him that the majority of the weight of the tree is on the right side away from the house. And I looked over, and there's a house way off in the distance, but I believe it'll miss it almost entirely. So the balance of the tree is important to take into consideration. Not safe, but something to think about.
Went to a bid today. Client has a giant redwood in their front yard. They say it's 60 years old. It's about, probably 5.5, 6 feet across at the base. I said, why are you going to get rid of it? He says, it's in the sewer lines. We can't cut a new sewer line to the house, so the tree's got to go. So he gave me the job. It'll probably be about 3 months before I get to it. Look at all the broken limbs up there. There's broken limbs hanging down everywhere. But the tree is probably 100 feet tall or more. It's a big one. It's got a nice spot to drop about a 20-foot log. So look forward to a milling video in about 3 months. It's a big tree. Should be fun. Client asked me, what's wrong with my tree? I know I've gone into this bit of a talk a few times about a few different things, but sometimes when you look at a tree, you have to really do the detective work and say, what's going on? Are there problems with the leaves? What's the color of the foliage? I asked her what she's been doing, and she says she's been fertilizing the tree, and I see a handful of fertilizer down there. And she said last year it was the biggest crop of lemons she's ever seen, and now all the leaves are falling off. This, by the way, is a lemon tree, and it's not the greatest shape. It's got a few defects down here, and I can see a spot where a limb ripped off, and I cut it off this way. There's a little rubbing going on up here. But she said it's always been a great tree. So one thing that I often will do is I will go up and I will push the trunk of the tree. And you see how it's moving at the base? It shouldn't be moving that much. So that leads me to think that maybe there's something going on underground. Maybe it's got some root decay. You know, I asked her about her watering. She says it gets watered 3 times a week with some little sprinklers, and you know, that should be enough. The ground isn't particularly wet here, but I don't believe that that's the problem. So I started looking around, and she's got this mulch on the ground here, and I started feeling around in the ground, and I came over here and my hand went straight down into a gopher hole. And I do know that gophers like citrus. I've seen many cases. I even saw a situation one time where a gopher dug a hole up and chewed all the way around the base of the tree. So partly to get some of the moisture, but they like to eat the bark and they eat the roots of this particular species of tree. So I'm going to say that's our biggest problem. Now the question is, will the tree survive? Well, if the gophers continue to chew on the roots, then the answer is no. Will it resprout some new roots and resurrect itself? Well, that's going to be a tough call. So what we did is there was a number of young lemons on the tree. So I said, let's pick off all the lemons so it'll put whatever energy it's got back into leaf production. I'm not sure that that's going to be the solution or not, but that's the best thing that I could suggest. They were all really immature. That limb out there looks like it's almost dead, which is this one right here. So I might tell her about it and take it off, and it'll be a little bit narrower tree. I might even suggest, well, that's got some foliage on it. I want to leave as much greenery up there as possible, but there's an awful lot of dieback. So the question is, will it survive? I don't know. I don't know. But if she doesn't resolve that issue, it's pretty much a given that the gophers are going to win.